back, baby.
Offense, you know what to do.
It's football time in Tennessee.
Give me Tennessee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 1796 Sports Podcast. I'm your host, NormalVolFan, joined alongside my boy, Ryan. We're going to hop in straight into it, actually. We're going to talk about the Vanderbilt series. I know we're a little late, but, you know, us two are busy throughout the week. But we're going to talk about the Vandy series, and then we're going to get right into the South Carolina series, starting tomorrow, actually. Let's dive into the Vanderbilt series. Ryan, what'd you think about it? I mean, we had a pretty off weekend with the bats. I mean, I wouldn't say, we had a couple nice hits, obviously, but not the lineup we're kind of used to, especially on Sunday. So, what'd you think about it? How'd the series go in your head?
Yeah, I mean, just watching every game. I mean, throughout the whole series, I'd probably give Tennessee, B minus, C plus grade, just on how they played overall. Talk about the offense. I mean, besides, the 8th inning on Friday and I think it was the 6th inning on Saturday, where you had those, a 5-run inning and a 4-run inning, offense was relatively quiet. And then you get to Sunday and we all know what happened there. I mean, Dylan Dryland was the only man to record a hit for the Vols on Sunday, but it's just like we said going into it, Vanderbilt was always going to have a good effort for Tennessee, and they did. And to be honest, I think Tennessee was lucky to win that series just based on how the game on the game on Saturday ended. Because second and third, no outs, you expect a team to get those 2 runs in, but Vanderbilt wasn't able to do it. So we held on to that win, and it's a good series win. We're still number 1 in the country, and I would rather be going through the offensive slump now than in 2.5 weeks. So,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think what kept us in those, the Friday Saturday game was pitching. Obviously, I mean, Nate Snead did his job. AJ Causey did his job, and talk about the lineup. I mean, I think it's a good sign we saw, a run rule with pretty much our backups in towards the late game against Belmont. I think that's a really good sign that this team, still has it. Obviously, it's not going anywhere, obviously. But this series, I mean, realistically, we need some things to happen to even win the regular season title for, the SEC. Now, I'm pretty sure it's a 3-way tie, right? Did Arkansas win that game to go 3-way tie?
I think as of right now, I think Kentucky's still a game up on everybody. Tennessee and Arkansas are tied, though.
But Kentucky faces Vanderbilt this weekend, so I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to sweep Vandy, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. But I expect Vandy to at least sneak one. But anyways, but this lineup, we all know what it could do. But we've been kind of missing it the past, couple weekends. I don't know if you thought the same thing, but it hasn't been that offense that we all thought we were going to have. I mean, ever since like the Missouri series, I feel like, we won that Thursday game 10-1. But then it was 3 runs. Then we lost to Lipscomb. Then it was, 6-2, 3-4, and then that one game in Florida was 16-3. But other than that, I mean, our bats have been not dead, but like you said, I mean, Dylan Dryland was the only one with a hit on Sunday, so that's pretty rare for it to happen. But we definitely need those bats to turn up the heat and come back to life for postseason play. And we talked about it before we started recording. I don't really care about the SEC title. We want to win natties now, and this team has the ability to do so. I expect A.J. Russell to be on a pitch count, but I expect him to be back for the postseason. I might even have him sitting out, for SEC tournament play, but I think he's going to be back for regional play, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a perfect world, if it was up to me and Russell was, ready to go in Hoover, I would at least give him an inning or two in Hoover, just so he's not coming in cold turkey when it really matters. But yeah, I mean the hitting, like you said, besides the one inning at Florida and then some timely hitting against Vanderbilt, it's still kind of been average for the last 2-3 weeks. So I expect that to change. I mean, you said it against Belmont last night. Things went fine. So that's I think everything will be okay with the offense. I think they're too talented to continue to go this way. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And it's if you get Russell back and the rest of the pitchers, stay as good as they have been. I mean, without the pitching, which has been the main concern for most Tennessee fans throughout the year, Tennessee would probably have won 3 or 4 less games in the last 3 weeks. But it has stepped up when we really needed it to, especially against Missouri and Vanderbilt this weekend. I mean, even with the 3-0 loss, Nate Snead gave you a chance to win on Sunday. I mean, he went 4 1/3 scoreless innings, and the offense just couldn't get anything across. I mean, you had 2 runners on, no outs in the 5th, 2 runners on, no outs in the 7th. We just weren't able to get anything. But it's really not that concerning to me because, like I said, the talent is there, and say what you want about Vanderbilt and how they've been this year, but I don't think we'll play a team as good as Vanderbilt in our regional. I mean, that's just my thoughts. I mean, I know that's kind of some SEC bias, but I think that the rivalry factored in as well over the weekend. So I am not very concerned.
Not me either. I mean, like you said, the talent is ridiculous. One through about 6 is just, for an ex-high school pitcher, I'd tell you right now, I mean, that's a tough first 6 to face. I would honestly say those are future, major league bats that you're facing. And it's just they can't go cold. I mean, and we have people that have been there already. I mean, you got Ensley, you got Christian Moore, Blake Burke. They've all been there. They know what it takes to get to Omaha, just to get to Omaha. I mean, obviously we got unlucky and had to face Paul Skeens in Omaha,
Yeah.
and but getting there is tough. And you can't have these cold spurts against even the quote unquote weaker teams, because teams that are making this, like I talked to Sidelines Georgia, a good buddy of mine, about facing Austin P. Austin P is no joke. Them boys get hit, and the fact that they're a 4 seed in their regional tournament, I was like, you better watch out. Those guys, they are not playing around, but you can't have these cold spurts. We have guys that have been there, which helps us a lot when it comes to the postseason. But like you said, I expect it to be okay. I don't expect the slump to come around for that part of the season. I think AJ Russell definitely needs to be, I wouldn't say 100%, but because we've done fine without him. But adding him is another. I mean, there's no reason to not want AJ Russell back, but it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna be really interesting on how we finish seed wise when it comes to the regional play, because some of the projections I didn't like. I don't know about you. There's some that I was like, oh boy, I don't know if I like that draw, because I saw one where we had Virginia in our regional.
I mean, once you get to the postseason, you're going to be playing good teams. So, and with the regional and the super regional most likely going to be at home, the regional for sure, super regional is still up in the air, but I think you can safely say it'll be at home. I think if Tennessee just plays how they play, they'll make it to Omaha again. But I'm ready to win more than just 0 or 1 game in Omaha.
This team could do it.
I know. I know. And like you said last year, running into Paul Skeens in the first game, putting you behind the 8 ball immediately, and then having to play LSU, in your third game,
Yeah.
just wasn't the best situation. But do you have anything else to say about that Vanderbilt series, Jim?
No, I think little brother just needs to enjoy their one win in the past 10. So a lot of them talking smack.
The tables have turned dramatically in the last in the last 3 to 4 years when Vanderbilt is gloating about sneaking one win at home against Tennessee. That's all I have to say. But talking about South Carolina, our opponent starting tomorrow at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. I mean, the definition of an average SEC team, I mean, you're just looking at all their numbers. Like, I think the only category that they lead in that I looked through was intentionally walking people. Everything else was like,
jeez.
Everything else was like, 5 through 8 as far as where they fell. So I'm certainly not overlooking the Gamecocks. They need a win or two to really bolster their resume to get a good draw for wherever they land in the postseason. So I certainly think that they'll be ready. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Just looking at the SEC standings, and with Vanderbilt going up to Lexington to play Kentucky, I really think to have a chance at winning the SEC, you're going to need to sweep South Carolina, because I just don't see Kentucky losing that series. So to even be tied, you need to sweep the Gamecocks.
Yeah, and like I said before, I think Kentucky sweeps Vanderbilt. I just don't think Vanderbilt, especially being in Lexington, I think Kentucky's good enough to beat them all 3 games, and they've proven that this year. I'm kind of interested to see how Kentucky does in the postseason, because it's all well and dandy to do it during the regular season, but you're going to be playing, really good teams in the postseason, like you just said. It's going to be fun to see them play in the postseason against better teams. But yeah, moving on, like you said, going into the South Carolina game, I mean, they're always a good baseball team. Like, there's no SEC team. Well, can't say that. There's no SEC, but most SEC teams are good baseball teams. Obviously, playing in the SEC is tough. We've been very blessed on the way we've played the past couple years. You're always bound. I look at LSU. LSU coming off a natty, and they're playing, pretty much playing for their lives this series to play in the postseason. Not saying they can't make it to Omaha, because they definitely can. They have the talent, but that's what I'm saying about South Carolina. It's just, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, they just got swept by Georgia, and we're a better hitting team than Georgia. Not by a lot, but I mean, we're better. And it's going to be really interesting. I think Tennessee could definitely sweep the Gamecocks. They could definitely sweep them. It's just, what Tennessee team do we get? Do we get the team that played against Vanderbilt Sunday, where you can't buy a hit other than one guy? Or do you get the Tennessee team where everyone's getting a hit, or Christian Moore's getting 3 hits, Dylan Drowning's getting 3 hits, all this stuff's happening? And how's your pitching doing? Because obviously South Carolina could, hit the ball decently well. But I just think that Tennessee will probably end up losing at least one. I don't think we lose the series. I think we'll probably give up one. But like you said, pretty mid team this year. But I know a lot of Gamecock fans that have been saying that they kind of want us to sweep them so they could get rid of their coach. So,
I mean, I'm glad you brought up the point about how hard it is to be good in the SEC consistently. But just talking about LSU and how they're searching for wins right now, and that it happened with Mississippi State in 2022 coming off their championship. It happened with Ole Miss in 2023 coming off their championship. I mean, what the Vols have been able to accomplish the last 4 years is pretty impressive. And we're still chasing that championship, but being consistently good there's something to be said for that too. Because even when you win one, it's not it's history says that if you do win one, you're going to have a down year the next year. So, but talking about South Carolina, I mean, they have some decent players. I mean, Cole Messina drives and runs. Ethan Petrie hits home runs. I mean, they certainly have the capability to sneak a game. I mean, God forbid win the series, but Tennessee's going to have to play well to get a sweep. And,
Absolutely.
And like I said, I mean, a sweep is basically what you have to do if you want a chance at winning the SEC regular season. And I just don't know if I trust Vanderbilt to even get it. Like you said, I don't even know if I trust them to get a game in Lexington. So even a sweep might not do it. So you better go ahead and get it. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. If I'm predicting that Vanderbilt series, I'd honestly predict that Kentucky wins all three. They're just playing really good baseball now, and Vanderbilt has just had a mid-season. The only reason they beat us on Sunday is no one showed up to hit. And, I'm not really worried about the regular title, to be honest. I'd rather everyone stay healthy, win 2 games. We win 2 games. I mean, something magical could happen. We might, share the title for the year. But I just think you keep everyone healthy, maybe win 2 games. I would love a sweep, obviously, but get ready for the SEC tournament and regional play.
Yeah. I mean, South Carolina, Tennessee, everybody knows we hit home runs. Best of anybody, but South Carolina has hit almost half of what we've hit in home runs. They are, I think they're like middle of the pack in batting average, middle of the pack in slugging. It's just if everything goes right, I think Tennessee should sweep them, and I don't really care what they need to do, what South Carolina needs to do to get done. Tennessee has got to have a good showing this weekend to ease the fan base a little. Because I saw some people on Sunday kind of losing their minds over getting shut out for the first time this year, which is understandable. I don't think anybody was happy about that. But, I wasn't. I mean, we've already talked about it. I don't think it's anything to get your panties in a wad over, but it's definitely concerning. So a good showing this weekend would help me sleep better at night.
Agreed. Because I was just looking at the projections for our playoff. Like I said, I mean, it's not an easy road to Omaha, let alone getting to Omaha. So, but I mean, we said it multiple times. This team could do it. It's just, it's all got to be in place. They all got to be there, ready to play. Just can't have that game that you had Sunday. And hopefully it's not lingering in their heads, which I don't think they are, because I was just listening to the More Important Issues podcast with Hunter Ensley being interviewed, and the way they all seem super confident, which is a good sign. I don't know why you wouldn't, because now that Hunter Ensley's bat's coming alive. Here's the one thing, actually, before I even talk about that, my biggest issue with this baseball team right now is somebody, I don't care who it is, needs to come up and step into that DH spot and take it. Because just the fact that we've been playing around with that DH spot all year and just can't find someone that's consistent enough to do it. Honestly, the most consistent, I think, has been Dalton Bargo or Cannon Peebles. But we keep switching it up. Villeneuve hasn't been doing his thing. It's like he's a strikeout king. And it's just, we have to find a guy that's consistent, because I feel like if you could get a guy that's consistent in the DH spot, that's another reason why I'm on Team Billy Amick off third base. He's been playing a lot better. He made a web gem play the other day.
Yep.
It's not that I want Billy off the field. It's, I think, best for the team if you move Dean Curley over. Try and let us see Antigua get some at bats, and maybe his bat is better than the guys that are DHing. I don't know, but I think that's a big spot that needs to be at least semi taken care of before postseason.
Well, hell, it's been a revolving door for 2 weeks now. I mean,
yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I understand what Tony's trying to do, but it's hard for people to just come off the bench cold or get into a groove when you're being yanked after one at bat. So I know he's looking for something there, but you mentioned Dean Curley. I mean, he hasn't hit a home run since the Auburn series. He hasn't hit a home run in a month and a half. I think it's the last game of the Auburn series when practically everybody hit a home run. And I think that's part of the reason Hunter Inslee jumped him in the lineup and he got moved down to 7th.
He's still hitting the ball pretty good though.
Yeah.
He's not hitting bombs like he was.
Yeah. Home runs aren't everything. I mean, he is a freshman. I think people forget that. I mean, it looks like he's been playing for 10 years, but there's a lot of things that you can nitpick, but certainly the DH spot it's just odd what's been going on because you've been, like you said, Bargo, Colby Backus, Villeneuve. I mean,
that's one kid I think should get more at bats.
Yeah.
Backus.
Yeah.
I think the kid's got a sweet swing, but like you just said, I mean, he gets one at bat every couple games or every midweek game. And I feel like every time he's gotten a bat, he's either gotten a hit on base or hit a home run. And it's just like, give him a shot. Like during the South Carolina series, give Backus a shot at DH, like do something different. I don't know.
I mean, God knows everybody will get a shot at DH the way things have been going.
So. Yeah. It's been, like you said, revolving door. I feel like it's a new guy and almost every game. And I mean, everyone's noticed it. So kind of interested on what he does. I mean, Tony Vitello is the best at his job. I mean, I'm not complaining one bit because it's not, I don't think it's not Tony Vitello's fault. I mean, he's just trying to find someone that catches fire or that gets in a groove to where he could use them. And no one's been able to do that consistently to where he could say, all right, you're my guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as big of a problem when you're still, top 5 offense in the country. But it'd be nice to have that because our DH is going to be near the bottom of the lineup. That's just how our lineup falls. And what I would like to see out of that spot is just someone who can get on base.
Yeah, something.
I don't even need you to hit a home run. Like lean into a pitch, take a walk. Like be a Cal Stark because Cal Stark will sit there, get hit, or draw a walk.
Yeah, that dude sits on the line. He's like, if you hit me, I'm getting on base. So throw me inside or throw it outside. So
it's as good as a hit. So
exactly.
You got anything else for baseball, Jim? Because I have one more thing.
No, go ahead. What you got?
Number one, 2 more things actually. Number one, I am calling a sweep right now.
For this weekend?
Yes. I think Tennessee.
All right.
I think Tennessee wants it. I think that shutout did not make them too happy. And I think they want to prove something to everybody. And they're still chasing an SEC regular season title. They're going to want to play it, and they're at home. So I expect big things this weekend, and I expect us to earn that sweep. And number 2, I'm not even trying to be funny here. I don't understand why anybody deals with that whistling bastard.
Oh, my God.
Like, if I was a Vanderbilt fan, I would be mad at that because it's narcissistic and annoying as hell.
Yeah, no one wants to go to a game that they probably paid good money to be at to hear a dude whistle every dang second of the game. It's just, and especially when you're losing. Like, He does it whenever. Vanderbilt's not the Vanderbilt they used to be. I think the game's passing up Tim Corbin. Now that Tennessee's in play, that they could just go a couple hours east and play in Knoxville with, just better NIL base, better coach, younger coach. I just think you're right. This whistling guy needs to go, or not go. I mean, be at the game, whatever. Cheer on your team, but I'm shocked that Vandy doesn't do anything about it.
If I paid good money for a seat as a Vanderbilt fan or a fan of whoever in that stadium, and I was seated near him, I would try to sue somebody to get a refund. Again, I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, I think it's if you can hear it on the broadcast, I mean, it's just too much. And I know it's been talked about for years now, but I just wanted to sneak that in there. But that's all I got for baseball, Jim. You have anything else before we move on to other things?
Well, yeah, I'll just comment on your sweep thing. I'm not that confident. I mean, I think you're right. I think this team definitely wants to prove it. I hope they prove me wrong. I do think Tennessee wins the series, but I think we drop one as per usual. I hope I'm wrong. But last thing for baseball wise, which is not dealing with this team, I want to give a shout out to Mike Concho. I mean,
yeah,
dude played a stellar baseball game today. 5 RBIs, first career home run. I think he batted 3 for 4. Excellent game, which is good for Vols recruiting. I mean, Trey Lipscomb, Jordan Beck. There's a couple other ones I'm missing that are just doing some good things. Jared Dickey's playing really well in the double A's, triple A's. But yeah, I think Vol baseball, if you think they're going to have a slump of bad years, I just doubt we're going to have that for a while. I think Tennessee baseball, as long as Tony Vitello is around, I think, we'll be winning a national title here soon.
Here.
But I want to hop into the opposite side of things. I want to talk about the Lady Vol softball regional coming up. I know you had wanted to talk about it. We got Dayton, Virginia, and Miami. Is that who is in our regional?
Yep, Dayton, Virginia, and Miami, Ohio.
Ooh, Miami, Ohio. And I know Miami and Virginia play each other early in the morning, and then we play Dayton, which, speaking of the Lady Vols, I mean, we just started talking about them the last episode of the podcast, and they go on and lose 2-1 to LSU in the opener of SEC tournament play. I talked about it before. This team, man, they got the lineup. Their bats are sick when they show up. I mean, we got the pitching. I mean, between Gottschall and Pickens, you got the nasty duo of pitching to where they usually hold good batting teams to less than 3 runs. All you got to do is score above 5. I feel like Tennessee wins the game. So, but going into Dayton, I mean, they're 33-19 overall, 19-7 in their conference. They're on a 4-game win streak, but they're 12-10 on the road, which I think is going to come to haunt them because I know the Lady Vols are 20-2 at home. I just don't think. I think this regional play should be easy for the Lady Vols to move forward to a super regional.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Dayton did win their conference. Decent team, But, there's a reason the Lady Vols are the number 3 overall seed. They just won the SEC regular season. They had 8 players named to all-conference teams. Karen Weekly's Coach of the Year. It's time to bring a title home there, too. And, it's like you said, the other diamond sport is just as good, just as consistent, just as – I mean, it's worthy of cheering for just as much as baseball is. And I think they're going to do big things as well during this postseason.
Oh yeah, I mean we got Pickens. She's named for Player of the Year, top 10 in Player of the Year talk, and she's been a stud all year. All year she's been, I mean, awesome. She throws absolute heat, and like I said, the pitching is always there for the Vols. There really hasn't been a game where they lost and they gave up multiple runs. I mean, I'm looking back at it. They literally, I feel like their worst loss was when they lost to Mississippi State 9-1.
Yep.
And other than that, they lost games by 1 run or 2 runs. And it's just when the bats don't show up. And like I said about the baseball team, they have people that have been there before, and they just need to step up. They got a girl from Oklahoma that's been there before, and she knows what she's doing. So I expect them to win the regional. Obviously, we have to see how super regional looks, but I'm pretty sure if they win the regional, they'll be hosting a super regional. Am I correct?
Oh hell yeah, yeah. The top 8 seeds. So, and I mentioned it. I think it was 2 podcasts ago before we had Billy on to preview the Vanderbilt series. Easily the most consistent program on that campus this century. And here's another stat to back that up. Since softball switched to a regional, super regional format in 2005, Tennessee has hosted a regional every single year. I mean, you can't get more consistent than that. So, but again, it's time to bring home some natties. You mentioned it earlier. I love SEC championships. I'll take a championship anytime you give me one, but I want to hang some national title banners.
I agree. I mean, I feel like there's only a couple teams standing in our way. I mean, there's a lot of good, softball teams out there, but it's just, I feel like this is the team to do it. And you got the coach to do it. You got all the players to do it. It's just don't do what you did against LSU in the opening round. It's just that's not the Lady Vols we're used to. And I expect them to be hyped up for this regional. I expect them to be hyped up for the postseason after losing that game. I expect them to be all there, ready to go. And I feel bad for Dayton. I feel bad for all the teams in the regional because they're going to get the best Lady Vols there is. And like I said, I mean, they're 20-2 at home. They've only lost 2 games at home this year. And the fact that they're hosting regional and super regionals, if they, do what they're supposed to, I mean, how are you not expecting to go to the World Series?
Simple as that. I don't think any more needs to be said. And
yeah, exactly.
We talk about it all the time, just about how good everything is in the athletic department at Tennessee right now. Both tennis teams, I mentioned it on 2 podcasts ago. Both tennis teams advancing, doing what they do, and now Tennessee men's golf is advancing. They're to the NCAA championship. They're one of the final 5 teams in the last few rounds of the year out in California. So. And that's with a player departing over the winter to go play for Live Golf. I mean, Caleb Surratt, who was going to be the cornerstone of the team, just left and went professional, and they're still making the championship. So I know that's the first time we've ever mentioned Tennessee golf on this podcast, but it just goes to show that any sport right now is going good.
Exactly, and like you said, it's time that they win a natty in something. I don't know what it is. I hope it's either football, baseball, or basketball first, or even the Lady Vols basketball. Speaking of Lady Vols, Coach Kim got another signee. She's been killing it in the portal. Ruby Whitehorn, is coming from Clemson. And she averaged almost 11 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal a game, which is awesome. I'm really, really excited to see this type of offense and type of play come from the Lady Vols this year. But like you said, I mean, I feel like we're bound to win something. I hope every team wins something, but I'd rather it come from like the bigger sports, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
But I agree with you. I think we're due, and it's just a matter of time.
absolutely. And you know, at as an alumni, it just compared to what my first year there when we had to like picket to not get a child rapist hired or a child rapist apologist. Like I had to go to the athletic center and listen to John Reed with a bullhorn and chant to not get him hired. And to where we are now, 7 years later, it's just incredible. But I know you had something you wanted to touch on the football side, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. Just announced that the Duke's Mayo Bowl is going to be at night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, against NC State. Week 2, prime time. Kind of a sneaky game. This to me, this is a trap game. This. I'm not saying NC State is anything special because to me they're just a basketball school. But they've definitely been getting better. They played really well last year. This is a semi-home game. I kind of expect more orange to be in the stadium. But it's gonna be really interesting. I think prime time so early in the season sounds so good. I'm so excited for football season. But yeah, this game's right before the Oklahoma game too. So, or no, is it? No, because they play Kent State after, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 weeks before your first Oklahoma series, with Josh Heupel going back to Norman. But yeah, it's really exciting. Just wanted to do a quick shout out for, the football team because I feel like we haven't been able to talk about them, being that it's off season. But yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, NC State is a very formidable opponent in that spot. They're bringing in a ton of transfers. They had one of the best transfer classes. The tight end we all wanted, and Justin Jolie, and then Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, Ohio State transfer receiver Noah Rogers. So that will be a formidable opponent in that spot, but I think Tennessee can get it done. Like you said, it'll be at worst 50-50 in Charlotte for that game. I mean, the last time we played North Carolina, it was also in a kickoff to the season type deal, and even though we went 5-7 that year, the Vols were able to win that game by 2 touchdowns with Cordell Patterson announcing his name to the Tennessee fan base. So I'm expecting a win in that spot, but Tennessee's gonna have to play good to win that game, no doubt.
Yeah, but my thing is, a lot of people have been talking about how it's been a problem, on the road for Tennessee, which it is. But neutral games have been pretty well in our favor, and I expect Tennessee to be, a touchdown or 2 favorite to win this game. Yeah. You have a strong defensive line. Our whole offensive line pretty much is coming back. The only position that we're kind of hurting in right now is running back, being that, Selden's hurt, and I think Peyton Lewis is hurt. But, I mean, Sampson's still there, obviously. But tight ends are looking good. Wide receiver room looks spectacular. It's kind of really crazy how we're probably not going to see a crazy ton of Mike Matthews this year. I do expect to see him, but with Brew McCoy, depending on how he's doing with his rehab, but you got Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, Chris Brazzell. I heard a lot of good things about Dante Thornton. Going to be really exciting. I think this Tennessee football team has great opportunity to make the playoff. They just got to win those key games, and a lot of the key games are at home this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll certainly talk more about football as the weeks draw near to the opening game against Chattanooga. I mean, it's a good time to be a Tennessee Vol. I cannot think of a time ever in the history of Tennessee sports when every team was this good. I mean, in '98, Lady Vols won and the football won, obviously, but pretty much every other sport was not that great. I mean, the men's basketball was decent during that time, but it's just across all sports, there has never been a better time in Tennessee history, and it's not a stretch to say that. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else for us tonight, Jim?
I don't think so, man. I think, like you said, I mean, everything's looking up. We're getting to the postseason of a lot of sports. Everything's looking good. The Vols just got to take care of business.
Absolutely.
Someone's tired.
Damn right. It's hard keeping up with so many sports that you're a contender in.
I'm excited, man. Dude, this weekend's full of stuff for me. I mean, I'm a gaming nerd, but Call of Duty has their major this weekend. Then you got the Lady Vols Super Regional, Vols Baseball. You know, it's just, and I expect to hear something about Chaz Linear within the next week. So there's so much to keep up with. Oh yeah, that's one last thing. And we don't have to talk about it, but I want to tell you this not the rumor, but conspiracy theory about this whole Chaz Linear thing. But from what I've heard is that, like I said, this is complete conspiracy. This is all speculation. This is not a story to even go on. But what if Chaz Linear knows he's going to Tennessee, right? Knows he's going to Tennessee. He knows he's not getting drafted. But what if he's going to this G League thing? Because there's a couple guys in the portal that are doing the same thing, going to the G League thing. What if he's going to this portal, going through these G League, workouts and all this stuff? What if he's recruiting? What if he he knows where he's going? I mean, what if he's a Tennessee lock? And like how we still have a crystal ball for him to come to Tennessee, but and he's recruiting. I mean, we still have 3 scholarship positions open. And I'm not saying he's going to grab 2 guys to come with him, but even if he grabs one and says, "Hey, come to Tennessee, let's go win something, let's go do something," because from what I've heard is he's all these Kentucky people are saying, "Oh, he's been on these 2-hour meetings." Mark Pope's been sitting with his mom at the G League Combine and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, you're telling me all this stuff. Why hasn't he committed to Kentucky then? And I heard they're throwing a bag at this kid. And that's just my conspiracy. I think it's far-fetched, but I could definitely see it playing out like that because home state kid, he's going to be a starter here. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a starter in Kentucky, but there's a lot more, I think, talent-wise, depth-wise in Kentucky. And I expect them to get more people from the portal, too. But Tennessee's going all in on Chaz Linear. They have kept this spot open for him for weeks now. So that's my thing. I know the conspiracy is kind of funny. I just thought I heard someone say it, and I was like, I mean, it's not crazy far-fetched. It could definitely be possible because I don't think, obviously the kid's trying to be in the NBA. I just don't think he's going to get drafted. Not saying he's not good enough. It's just, I think he plays for one more college year with a bigger team and does what he does, and he's like another Dalton Knecht, gets drafted.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at his numbers at North Florida this past season and look at Knecht's numbers from his last season at Northern Colorado, they're not that much different. I mean, I know Lanier's he's a few inches shorter. He's not as You know, he's not as good of a 3-level player, but he could have a similar impact. And there's no surprise why Tennessee wants him, why Kentucky wants him, why a lot of schools want him. So I'm all on board for any conspiracy theory that benefits Tennessee. I'm not on board for any that benefits Kentucky, though. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, here's my thing. Last thing is that just think about how dangerous Tennessee's lineup would be with him. It would be Zakai Ziegler at the point, Chaz Linear at the 2. I'm assuming Dubar would be at the 3, Igor at the 4, and Akpara at the 5, with Meshack and Gainey and Cameron Carr coming off the bench. And I mean Estrella, Cade Phillips. I mean, you got the talent, and I think he's the missing piece. And like I said, they've been holding this spot for him. And Rick Barnes is not known to do that. They didn't hold the spot for Tobe Awaka. This is a big deal that they're keeping a spot just for him. And it's not the end of the world. If we don't get him, it's not the end of the world. But it'd be very, kind of annoying that he goes to Kentucky. But I still think he goes to Tennessee. I think he stays home. And I think... like I said, this lineup's very stacked with him, and I think they could do a lot. But yeah, that's my last thing. I know it's late. Like you said, 3-0 for the South Carolina Gamecocks series, or the Yardcocks as they call them.
Yep.
But yeah, I hope everyone has a good night. We appreciate you listening. Go Vols, baby.
Go Vols.